All right, guys, I'm going to give this a go. So we're in week 2. I'm going to do a recap of week 1, share with you some of the results and some of the stuff that you guys did, and then I'm not going to edit this. It's just going to be totally raw, and we're going to see how awesome it is or how like epically fail I did. So here we go. Week 1, we asked you to get into Google Classroom and take a virtual field trip, and then take a look at how germs were spreading. So here we go. We've been doing some Google Forms. So here's the virtual field trip. And these are your responses. I get them summarized in Google Classroom and Google Forms, which is why I use it. So here's the breakdown by period. Right now there's 131 responses, so there's 30 of you or so that haven't done it. So it looks like most of you went to the zoo in San Diego. I had the chance to go there as a kid. It's a pretty big place. But I definitely like going to the Monterey Bay Marine Aquarium a whole lot more than the zoo. I haven't been to Atlanta or the Houston Zoo or the Georgia Aquarium, but I have been to the first 2 places for real. The Monterey Bay place is pretty awesome. If you ever get a chance to go to California, it's worth checking out. Polar bears, penguins, beluga whales, crazy stuff. So let's get down to the meat of what you could actually have learned. So the idea of whether animals should be bred with natural selection or selective breeding. And a lot of you guys had some nice things to say. I think the most critical thing or the most important thing to remember was that in selective breeding, we would control the genes of the species, and in natural selection, the animals would be passing genes around in a sense randomly through their own activities within a zoo. I don't exactly know who got it right or who did the research, but the best phrase that we want to ensure is here in this conserving genetic diversity. So sometimes zoos will implore selective breeding to produce outcomes, but usually they're doing so with the animal's best interest in mind, as opposed to farmers and capitalists that are trying to exploit money or something, like we talked about, like breeding fast racehorses or cows that are super big to produce more beef. Zoos are in the interest of animals, so they make decisions to help animals survive. The biggest thing they're trying to do is conserve genetic diversity. If you go to the San Antonio Zoo, when it opens, it's a cool place, there's no way they could control the breeding of the fish that are in all the exhibits, the tilapia that are in the bottom of the aviary. However, they can control the breeding of, say, the tigers or the lions, and borrow lions and tigers from other zoos around the planet to create offspring that would have genetic diversity that they could include to help the species survive in the long run. So that was that one. I didn't read through every single answer, but I looked through them and I saw that you guys were noticing good adaptations. So let's take a look now at how germs spread. This one was a little more on point with our current situation. 139 responses, so there's still about 15 or so of you that have not gone in and done this, but here we go. Here's the summary. There's by class period, so equal participation among classes. However, 5th period is at 19.4%. It might be because they're the biggest class I have. GlowGerm, he used it to help us visualize how germs spread. Almost 90% of you got that one spot on. To show how germs and viruses are everywhere. That would probably be the secondary case, but his goal in that video was to show kids how they spread, which is why I showed it to you. Yes, they totally can live on hard surfaces. I was reading a news article or saw something that they went back onto that cruise ship 14 days later after it had been treated and disinfected, and they still found some active coronaviruses. So yes, they can live on hard surfaces. All right, 15% of you here did not catch the right answer. 80% of you, almost 80% of you, said no. So our skin, our integumentary system, is really good at keeping germs and stuff out of our body. That's the primary reason that we have skin. It's to keep the germs and stuff out, and it's to keep the good stuff in. And so if you were to get a coronavirus on your hand, right there, and you were to go to the sink and use soap and water and wash it away, and then you were to touch your face, that germ would not be there anymore. But if you didn't wash your hands and you rubbed it on your face, I washed my hands It could enter through your nose, through an eye. So on the food you eat your sandwich, and now it's in. So 92% of you got this one. It's a host cell. So the host cell becomes the factory. All right. The virus already has its own DNA, but it needs the host cell to be the factory to make more DNA to make more places, and the cell becomes a place for it to live. Now, it can survive on hard surfaces, but it can't reproduce on hard surfaces. So that's back to the idea of cell theory. The answer was 8. So if you have it and you touch 8 different people, there's a chance that the germ's going to be down 8 people down the line, meaning if we're in a socially normal situation and we're saying hi to 10 different people in a gathering of 50 people, we could put germs on 8 out of 10 of those people's hands, and they could keep passing it on to more, which is why we are socially distancing. So it appears that most of you are going to wash your hands more. 14% of you are never going to shake hands again. I will shake hands again. 10% of you are going to socially isolate yourself forever. 30% of you may never touch your face again. I believe you're all lying, but you don't want to. You will appreciate the work that people do to keep things clean. 82% of you. I wish that was at 100. I am so thankful for the people that do that. 69% of you are going to stop biting your fingernails and picking your nose. Should probably start doing that. 77% of you are going to cover your mouth when you cough. It doesn't appear that very many of you are interested in cleaning your phone. I thought that would be a bigger one. None of these other ones. Oh, wash your hands better. Definitely worth doing. So don't touch your face. This is the easiest way to get a virus or any germs inside you. Wash your hands. That's why you can touch your face. So, good job there. So if you take the news and look out, the reason that we're socially distancing is to lower the curve. Are we doing that? I'm not sure. A couple weeks ago, it was 15 days, and now we're out of school even longer. So we'll see. I think the biggest thing from a science standpoint that we have to remember is that when we start making decisions as a country, we can't make the decisions and know the outcomes. We have to be patient and let people make those decisions, and then we have to do things that are socially responsible and follow some of the directives. So that's my week 1 recap. You guys are in the middle of week 2 right now. You got some stuff on photosynthesis, which is plants, and the other one we had you do was I don't even remember. It was animal adaptations. Make a video on Flipgrid, and I know that some of you have had some Flipgrid issues. We'll work through them. Be patient, keep trying, be persistent, but we'll get there. Good job with the forms, and I appreciate your comments and reaching out. And that's the week 1 recap. Check out photosynthesis and the extensions on phototropism and what plants do all day. I don't know what I'm doing all day. Wait, I'm doing this all day. Not all day. I'm doing a lot of other stuff. Trying to get my 5-year-old to do work on an iPad. Trying to keep the 8-year-old rider function going. Yep. Oh, best news. Yeah, daughter has a cast on. She's 2. She's got a cast from her knee to her ankle. I'll send pics. It's pretty cool. She hurt her leg going down the slide. Yeah, broken leg. Maybe I'll use her X-rays as part of our next lesson. Why we'll talk a lesson on friction, coefficients of friction. There we go. All right. Have a good week 2. Keep doing stuff. Find stuff to read. Find a book to read. Find a hobby to do. Do something. Be awesome. Later.